Okay, announcements. First item. Downtown and Residential Parking Town Hall meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, Wednesday, January 23rd, here at the San Bruno Senior Center at 6 o'clock. This will be led and facilitated through Javon and staff, and they will be conducting the meeting tomorrow. Next item, receive community grant fund presentation from the San Bruno Community Foundation from Treasurer Frank Headley?
President.
I thought President.
President.
Oh,
You're on.
I'm on. Well, how soon people forget. You know what I mean? That happens. But anyhow, this year, after several years, Nancy Krause, who has served as our president, felt that she needed to step aside for some personal matters and still support the foundation. They looked around the room, and then I was duly elected to serve my last year as a member of the foundation because I'll be termed out, which is probably a good thing or not a good thing, depending on how you look at it. But tonight, I'm here, especially wanted to be here because both of the grants that were approved in our community grant program are very near and dear to me personally. Our first grant, which we will be awarding, that we awarded in December and presenting the check to the city manager tonight, is for the Narita San Bruno Sister City exchange program. That program has been in place for, well, actually it started in about 1990. I did have the privilege when I was then the city manager and police chief to accompany a group of young people and adults to Narita for a cultural exchange and an opportunity to meet with them. We formalized the relationship in 1990, and it has been a continuing opportunity. But the icon of it is our relationship with the exchange of Parkside intermediate or middle students with middle students from the city of Narita. As most everybody knows, that the foundation was appointed and created for the purposes of administering the $70 million negotiated settlement from the PG&E as an outcome of the PG&E gas fire in 2010. As part of that, we as the foundation not only set aside monies to do something major in the community, such as the Recreation and Aquatic Center that the mayor mentioned this evening is in its early stages of getting itself completed. We also set aside funds for a community grant, and those funds were intended and are intended to help organizations within the community, including the city of San Bruno, to be able to do a little bit more than what they might not be able to do if they didn't have that additional funding. This year, we were very pleased with that Google and YouTube stepped to the plate, and we had set aside $200,000. They came and stepped to the plate and contributed $100,000. So we had $300,000, to which we are awarding 25 projects for a total of the $300,000. Two of those are the city of San Bruno. The purpose of the grant for the Narita Sister City is to be able to fund the visitation of the incoming delegation of young people from Narita. The way the program works is that we have 8 or 10 students that come from Narita, and sometimes it's 12 or 14, depends on the year and the participation. They are housed by parents here in the community, in which those students stay with a student from Parkside who is then going to go to Narita the following month or two. So the program works to be a very fully immersed cultural exchange, and we've been proud to be a part of that this year. I personally have been involved with it since as a member of the Rotary Club, when the Rotary Club of Narita and the Rotary Club of San Bruno became sister clubs in 1982. Subsequently, the city, under the leadership of then the late Mayor Bob Marshall and past Mayor Larry Pranzella, were spearheaded to work with Mayor Hasagawa from Narita, and ultimately the bond was formed. The flag behind you, the purple flag, is the flag of the city of Narita. So for this grant, I am very pleased to present a $6,500 grant that was one of the 25, and know that it'll be used to augment and make the exchange a very successful event. The second check that we have, a grant, is a $10,000 grant to the city. As the city manager knows very well, he and his staff are very new to working together. One of the responsibilities of senior staff and leadership in the city is to have the department heads working together as a team in the event of an emergency. And the way you do that is you sit down and you work together and you become well versed with each other's approaches and understanding of how the city needs to be responsive. Trying to do that on a day-to-day basis in a short staff meeting doesn't work. It takes the time for the senior leadership to step away outside of the normal city operations and spend the time working together over 2 or 3 day retreat. And that is what this $10,000 grant will do, is to provide that opportunity so that this city will be even more prepared than it is today in the event of an emergency situation. And I think we're all familiar that the city's had its fair share of emergency situations. So on behalf of the foundation, I'm pleased to present this check. He always likes it when I give him money. And with that, I'll sit down and I do want to compliment the mayor. I did hear most all of your speech tonight, and I thought you presented the city in a good light, and I think the city's in good hands. That's from a former city manager, you know.
Thank you to the foundation, and I know Javon has the checks, but Keith, before he leaves, make sure you get the checks.
I'll get it.
Okay. But it is appreciated, and as we talked about preparedness, we do have some staff that is newer that will be going out and leave the area, because that is where the training will be for preparedness, for the emergency, disaster, and whatever else may come down the path, so that we have personnel that are trained and ready to operate in any time that we may have to call upon them. So thank you again to the foundation.